Five, four, three, two, one. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I'm going to take you over to some fun with Taco Bell, and the title of the commercial is Chicken Philosophers. It's set in, I'd say, the 17th century or so, sort of Louis XIV kind of look of everything. And or maybe the 1700s, the 18th century, if we want to be more precise, with a degree in philosophy and in history. I think it's a little comical that the commercial is set in a time frame where there was no kind of diversity like there is here presented, and there was no discussion of anything like this which was here presented. And I'm a little concerned that there's a sort of a weird racism embedded in this, that we have to present every ethnic group on the planet as if it somehow was actually involved in things that it never was. But it's a lot of fun. Here we go. Let's switch over to the latest. Ready?
Bun, mayo, chicken, pickle, bun.
It's bun, pickle, chicken, mayo bun.
Bun, chicken, mayo, pickle, chicken, bun.
Bun, pickle,
Blasphemy!
We have an extra one.
Dibs.
There's a different way to chicken. The Naked Chicken Chalupa, only at Taco Bell.
I don't know what a chicken chalupa even is, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm not into Taco Bell that much. The tacos are inexpensive, but it takes like 7 of them to fill you up. So anyway, I just thought it was fun. And as I've said before,
Bun, mayo.
let's see. As I've said before, I put these up here so I get a decent looking thumbnail on YouTube. It's just a quick way around their thumbnail generator, and that's what I'm up to. And I think it's fun to see what the advertising world has to say. So now let's go over to the news. Why brands on Twitch could find themselves in hot water. And I'm probably not going to take all of this, but Twitch, apparently, I learned a lot on this article. Twitch has 15 million viewers every day. It has over 3 billion hours of live content. I broadcast on Twitch, at least last I knew. I've been broadcasting on Twitch since I started this live stream because I could. And so I'm in there, and I have my own channel. Every now and then I'll get a whole herd of people to decide to watch, and I think it's funny. And they do, but I don't pay much attention to it. And one thing Twitch doesn't do is they don't archive all of the stuff. So they might keep I think they keep your show for 5 days or something like that, and then it's gone. And that saves them a lot of disk space, contrary to, like, say, YouTube, who has, I think we have almost 800 videos up there on YouTube. And so they don't have to keep it going, but Twitch accounts for 72% of all live video content on the internet. Whoo! Wow. So anyway, and the basic idea of it is people watching other people play games. There's no real slot for direct marketing experts in there. And maybe that's why it's not that popular. But where people, here it is, you probably know this already, where eyeballs go, brands follow. Okay? So, a client brief says, we really need to speak to gamers. My bank, my law firm, even my accountancy firm, they're all at it. They're trying to get at gamers. Gaming is, as the world seems to have finally cottoned on, massive, right? But with every new target, channel, or marketing opportunity, the question of brand safety must be explored, and Twitch is no exception. Right in the midst of global focus, raising our collective game to tackle women's safety, just the right to walk home and all the rest of it, Up came bikini-clad, cavorting hot tub girls, and charging people for the privilege of watching live. That's right, hot tubs. Okay, it's a simple studio hot tub, and it's women making literally millions of dollars doing this. Literally millions of dollars. I haven't watched any. I don't think it's healthy for me anyway. But let's say you decide to advertise. Digital advertising, auction spots. You find your ad agency finds a slot that will give you 1 million viewers live, and you can run a little video in the midst of it. And that's all you know. It's on a gaming channel that you've never heard of, Twitch. And it's so low a cost per thousand, you think they're it's not the agency, it's not Adobe, it's the algorithm thinks this is the best deal I've ever seen. Let's give this a try and see if we get any hits. You know, one of the problems with this, though, is in very engaging content doesn't generate as many leads. Sports Illustrated found this out decades ago when they accidentally ran a commercial on children's cartoons on a Saturday morning. They got more call-ins than they'd ever had because the dads were watching the cartoons with the kids and didn't really care about the cartoons, maybe, or the kids. And, you know, up came the Sports Illustrated ad. And so they decided to call in and subscribe. And so sometimes great content can work against you. And the infomercial world knows that when they put it on late night TV. They get a low cost per view, and they get people looking for someone to talk to and not really caring about what you're selling, but willing to explore it, willing to watch because there's not much else on. But anyway, Adobe had an advertising slot, and they were on a popular Caitlin Amoranath Siragusa, who was found to be leaning provocatively out of the hot tub. And the author here says Adobe had published a white paper called Celebrating Women. I wonder if they even know. And why all the fuss? It's not illegal, you know. Well, it's running at 9 in the morning. And imagine if this were running on the BBC or other places, you wouldn't see it there. And there's no warnings that this could be very explicit, and your kids could be watching it. And this is some of the trouble that TikTok got into not long ago, and YouTube got into, and a lot of people have gotten into. So anyway, thank you, Susie Barnes, for calling attention to that. But I think it speaks to a bigger issue, which is digital advertising. Digital advertising is the Wild West, and your brand can be at risk just because of the algorithms. Take control of your advertising. Look into direct marketing, where you can build a brand and have some fun. Okay, this is an interesting article. This one email explains Apple. Okay, and what it is, I thought it was going to be some, secret email from the management, between the management saying, let's rip off everybody. Let's make a new dongle on every device we create. So that anybody who loves Apple will have 27 dongles in their briefcase. That happens to be true as far as I can tell. I've never owned Apple, but it seems that they're always inventing new dongles and new connectors. Nope, this was from Bertrand Serlet, sent an email on October of 2007. Okay, just 3 months after the iPhone was launched, and in the email he outlines essentially every core feature of Apple's App Store. Basically, he says we need an App Store because they're hacking Apple devices. They're hacking the iPhone already, and they're going to put their content in there. So let's instead make it easy for app developers to put an app in there and let's take a royalty, which I understand is like 40% of the selling price. So Apple's App Store business brought in an estimated $64 billion in 2020. You think that trillion-dollar valuation of Apple is overstated? This is printing money. But anyway, they didn't know that back in 2007. So the outline basically says we need user protection, we need network protection, we need an owned developer platform, and a sustainable API approach. API means that we basically tell you the rules, and here's the specs to interface to the iPhone, and you have to follow those rules, but then, knock yourself out. Figure out whatever you want, and if it's not illegal, immoral, or whatever else, with some user protection, we'll let you sell it up there. And, not only has this built a $64 billion a year business for Apple, but it's also become allowed the launch of countless titanic internet startups and businesses built on taking advantage of native apps on the iPhone. So what's so titanic about this email? Well, basically, the first thing he says is we need these basic things. We think it's got to happen soon, and we need to get it shipped ASAP. Can I have the resources? There's a direct ask for resources. It's also implied at the bottom, do you agree with these goals? Okay, there's enough detail. There's not an extensive defense of all of those things. Those things are almost axioms, self-evident, and therefore, he just states them. And one of the things that's kind of implied there is, I know what I'm doing. Trust me, we need this. Okay? And the interesting thing is that, this is just weeks after the first hacky third-party attempts had made their way to iPhone, and just under 2 months since the first iPhone jailbreak toolkit appeared. But there's no ask for his input. There's no need or desire shown here for Steve to make sure that his touch is felt on this framework. He just says, we need to do this. And the response is just as important. Steve says, make sure it's done by March of 2008 and shipped in July of that year. So that means he's got 6 months to have it ready to announce at the Apple World Conference or whatever. And basically, Jobs is giving him carte blanche, right? He's just saying, whatever you need, you get it done. This is something we need done. And so no matter how effective leadership is and how talented their employees, if they do not establish an environment which clarity of thought is welcomed and rewarded, then they will never get to the kind of bold, declarative product development that they wish. And I only wish they still remembered Steve's comment that you got to be able to wrap your hand around it to really make it work. Yeah, I know there's pop sockets, but I want something that fits in a pocket, and nobody does build it anymore. And the original iPhone was like the perfect size. I would think someone would come out with the perfect size smartphone. Now that we can put 64 gig on a chip the size of a pinky nail, or 132 gig, or even probably way more than that. I probably not keeping up. For $5. Why not build them small again, like we all want, and put a little light on there that says this is being charged, or this is fully charged, and maybe a replaceable battery, which is what iPhone took away from us all, and it never came back, pretty much. Okay, can it be learned from? Probably, but only if all involved are willing to create the environment necessary to foster the key elements above. I've noticed something really interesting in my career. Looking back on it, I think the people that listened, the executives, the business owners, the Dick Cabela's of the world, when they listened, we made them money hand over fist. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. Most didn't. Most let their employees undermine the projects. giving us trivial things to work on instead of what we came to do. And that actually happened at Cabela's. New IT came in and said, we know how to do this just as well. They didn't even ask us what we were doing. They didn't know we were using 500 variables in machine learning in 1985 before anyone knew how to do it. They didn't have 10 probably variables that they could model with. Anyway, so as much as I loved working with Dick Cabela, he hired a bunch of MBAs who created a political climate, but in defense of Dick Cabela, created pretty much a retail giant that gave a legacy to his kids, and I think that was his main objective, really. Anyway, lots of things to think about. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye.